Tennessee Titans fans, awful lot of news going on today. We have the introductory press conference of new GM Mike Borgonzi and also Vice President of Football Operations Chad Brinker did an interview on 104.5 The Zone today. He talked to the media. There was no audio or video of that. I still don't understand why not, but he was quoted and all of this stuff. So let's start with Brinker and the things that he had to say. He is going to have the final say. What I take the events of today to mean is that Amy is pretty much putting Chad Brinker in the role of the owner. I know Amy still is the owner, but it feels like she has literally given ownership to Chad Brinker because literally his job description is like that of an owner. And so, like, he's the only one who can overrule a roster move or something like that. I mean, that's just what it comes across as. And especially when you consider, and I may be reading too much into this, but Amy Adams Strunk wasn't even at the press conference today. There was a big group photo after the press conference ended, and she wasn't even in it because she wasn't even in the building. Now, she may be sick or something. You never know. But if she's not sick, I think that was literally her pretty much saying, I'm taking my hands off the wheel and I'm giving it to these guys and I'm just going to go to my office and let them run this organization. Like, that's really what it felt like to me. Excuse me. But it feels like Chad Brinker's the owner. Even though he's not, it feels like he is. He talked about the draft, talked about how he wants to have, I think he said 12 picks in the top 100 over the next 3 years. Only way you get that is by trading back or trading players that can get you picks like that. And really, Jeffrey Simmons is the only one that comes to mind that could get you a top 100 pick. But also, Chad Brinker said, when asked about trading Jeffrey Simmons or Harold Landry, he pretty much said, we're not going to trade guys that we drafted that, you know, are great players. So I don't know. That may have just been coach speak or vice president of football operations speak or whatever. But a couple of concerning things and a couple of things that really point to the fact that Amy is just pretty much giving all of the control away. When he was asked in his press conference, Chad Brinker was asked, why did Amy Adams Strunk let Rand Carthon go and nobody else? Chad Brinker said, I don't have an answer to that question. Okay. Then he was asked, why Rand? What did Rand do to merit being the one to go? He said, I don't know. So I feel like there's something we're not being told. I don't know. But let's get to Mike Borgonzi. Mike Borgonzi, much different vibe than Rand Carthon. Much different vibe. I mean, Rand Carthon came across like the young, hip, you know, new age thinker of how to do this and stuff. Whereas Mike Borgonzi comes across as just a businessman. Like he comes across like he's here for a job, you know, and that's not me criticizing Rand Carthon. There's more than one way to do business, but it is a much different vibe from Mike Borgonzi than what we ever got from Rand Carthon. The one thing that I feel like was very consistent when Chad Brinker talked today and when Mike Borgonzi did, I think they absolutely hated the way the Titans conducted their offseason last year. And that may have been a driving force behind why Rand Carthon got fired. I mean, if you remember, the Titans were so active in free agency. Calvin Ridley, Tony Pollard, Lloyd Cushenberry made the trade for L'Jarius Sneed, Cheeto Awuzie, Kenneth Murray. The list goes on and on. Jamal Adams, Quandre Diggs. It was like Madden free agency in a franchise mode. It was like, that's what the Titans did last year. Had a lot of money to spend, and so we got to spending. And I think it proved to not work. He gave you a temporary high In the offseason, when you saw that the Titans signed this guy, it gave us a rush. It gave us some adrenaline. It gave us some excitement in those March, April, May, June months. But at the end of the day, it got us a 3-14 record and made us the worst team in the league. It didn't work. It didn't work. And so I don't know if that is kind of the driving force behind Rand Carthon getting fired and hiring Mike Borgonzi, because they mentioned that a lot today. Brinker and Borgonzi mentioned a lot. It's not enough to just go out and get players. You've got to get the right players. You've got to build your team through the draft. The draft is your most important asset. You know, you don't build a team just by free agents. Again, this is not Madden. This is not the video game. So I do think that probably led to some of the issue with Rand, is that Rand knew we had a lot of money to spend, and so he just went out and started spending last offseason. Again, I don't know what else he was supposed to do, but, you know, it didn't work. It just didn't work. And so Borgonzi and Brinker really said a lot of things today that could point to the fact that they would be interested in trading back in the draft. I mean, a lot of, especially when you talk about wanting 12 top 100 picks in the next 3 drafts. That would, I mean, the way you get that would be trading picks and trading back. So I don't know. That's an option that's definitely on the table. I think it was Brinker said, we're not going to pass on a can't miss talent, a generational prospect with that number 1 pick. If we feel like there's a generational prospect, we're going to take him. And when he said that, the first names that came to mind were Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter. I'm just going to be honest with you. When he said, we're not going to pass on a generational talent with the first round pick, the first names that came to mind were Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter. Now, they haven't even started scouting. They haven't even started watching film on guys in the draft. But Mike Borgonzi did say before the press, I think it was the last question of the press conference, regarding the quarterback position, he said, we're going to turn over every single rock we can turn over. We are going to explore every option. We are going to, whether it's the draft, free agency, whatever, we are going to do whatever is best for the quarterback position, because Mike Borgonzi called it the most important position in sports. Not just in football, but in sports, the quarterback position. And I agree with him. It is the most important position in sports. And until you get that right, nothing else really matters. So they know how important it is, and it's what I've said. They're going to watch film on Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders. They're going to go see Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders up close, and it's going to come down to, can either one of those guys convince Borgonzi and Brinker that they are a can't-miss future of the franchise prospect? I'm going in with optimism. I like the vibes that I got today from Brinker and Borgonzi, which sounds like a law firm. Brinker and Borgonzi. Or maybe it would be better if it said Borgonzi and Brinker. Yeah, that sounds better. But it was all business from them. I mean, they felt almost like we were like we were working for the mob or something. Like the way the way they were acting, it was just like you got these 2 muscular guys up there in suits. And it felt like they were ready to get down to business and get to fixing this thing. And so I'm optimistic. As I said the other day when they first hired Borgonzi, I am cautiously optimistic. I thought that Chad Brinker was very transparent today, as transparent as he could possibly be. I actually appreciate the fact that when he didn't have an answer for a question, he said, I don't know. That is a question for Amy, who apparently is just disappeared. I don't even know where Amy is or what she's doing or if she even associates with this organization anymore. I don't even know. But it does look like Mike Borgonzi is going to pick. He made it clear, I'm making the draft picks. I'm picking the free agents. And I believe him, because I don't think he would have taken this job if it weren't so. He also talked about how in Kansas City he had a lot of collaboration. It was a team effort that led to them having all of the success they have. So he's less worried about titles and job titles and things like that. Here's the thing. All of this collaboration and team effort, working together, I'm fine with it as long as it works. It could work. It's worked for many teams in the league. You always run the risk that people are going to butt heads and people are going to, you know, get into fights over stuff and it's going to cause more harm than good. But you know what? If these guys can make it work, if these guys can get on the same page with Brian Callahan and lead this organization out of the darkness, y'all do whatever you want. Y'all do whatever you want. Amy can stay in her office if she wants. As long as we start winning, I don't care. Let me know what you think about Borgonzi. Let me know what you think about Brinker. Bye, everybody.